Good afternoon and good morning, everybody. This is Patrick Smith, Marketing Manager here at Loyalty360, welcoming you to another edition of Loyalty Live. In this series, we talk to the leading agencies, technology partners, and consultants in customer, channel, and brand loyalty about the technology, trends, and best practices that impact the ability of brands to drive unique experiences, enhance engagement, and most importantly, customer loyalty. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Tim Glomb, VP of Digital, Content, and AI at Wunderkind. Welcome, Tim. I'm glad you joined us. First of all, Awesome, thanks, Tim. First of all, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, your role with Wunderkind, and your background as well, please?
Yeah, no doubt, Patrick. Thanks for having me again here. Excited to be here again. I am, as you mentioned, VP of Digital Content, also oversee customer marketing and our operational AI, which is kind of fun. I am a 20-plus year brand marketer, spent a lot of time in the B2C space, entertainment, music, and television in the 90s and early 2000s, went into branded content agency world, ended up with Mark Cuban, procuring content and technology for his 150-plus brands like Access TV and Dallas Mavericks. And that led me to jump to the other side of the fence, which I've been for about a decade now in the technology side. So at Wunderkind, I'm responsible for all the great content that you'll see from our team, anything that you see on the buyer's journey on our website. And again, we have some really great AI tools that bring that content to life for marketers and technologists looking for solutions like ours.
Very cool. Thank you. I've been doing some experimenting with AI and content myself, actually. So it's awesome to hear. For those who may not be as familiar with how Wunderkind supports a brand's customer loyalty efforts, can you give us a brief overview on what you do and the industries that you work with specifically?
Yeah, first, I'll start with the industries. We really touch almost any industry that deals with retail at all or has their own direct-to-consumer revenue channels. So we're big in the apparel space, the fashion space, beauty, luxury goods, but also electronics. We're also fairly astute in the travel, hospitality, and even event ticketing space. So we cover a lot of different industries. But what we do at the core is Wunderkind for the last 13 years has been building a giant identity graph, which allows us to see 9 billion consumer devices, which is more than consumers on the planet. Imagine we all have multiple devices, iPads, phones, laptops, et cetera. And we stitch those together to help brands understand when triggered messaging or ads need to be sent back to somebody. So if a consumer is giving you intel or a signal that they're ready to buy or they need something from you, we can help trigger that response primarily in owned channels, a very cost-effective way. And we do this for about 1,000 brands. We generate about $5 billion a year in that space. We also have an ads product. I won't go deep into that, but ultimately at the end, loyalty is a common theme because again, we're looking at getting people into a brand's marketing list, first touch point, all the way through recurring, even through advocacy. So understanding the signals that your customers are giving off when they're ready for the next touch with your brand.
Wonderful. So when you talk about loyalty and about those loyalty-related signals, can you tell us a little bit about how you at Wunderkind define customer loyalty and what does it mean overall to your organization? If you could expand on that a bit more.
Yeah, loyalty is everything, right? We're all loyal to certain things. I'm loyal to certain brands. I wear their hats. It's probably not the most appropriate hat for here, but loyalty really, we believe, is having someone think about you or do something with or around your brand, not even when they're being asked to. And it's not always transactional, right? Loyalty isn't necessarily, oh, they came back and they purchased. Are they an advocate? Are they an evangelist? And I think evangelism is probably a good term to use around loyalty. It's synonymous, in my opinion, because evangelism, if you look at the definition, it's someone who converts somebody to something else, right? So if I love Patagonia, which I do, I'm a big outdoorsman, how am I talking about that brand, conveying that brand's message and bringing other people to the brand? So, here at Wunderkind, we are not specifically a loyalty platform technology, but all of our data and all of our intelligence and all of our actions through our managed service really help foster loyalty with existing customers that hopefully turn into advocacy. So that's a broad definition, but I think evangelism is a big thing that we're going for.
No, that was absolutely perfect. And I mean, on the note of evangelism too, I come from a marketing background. I'm somebody who they talk a lot about the marketing funnel. But now people are describing it more as an hourglass, right? Because that second end of the funnel, post-purchase, it's really important that you have people who are singing the praises of your brand and going out there and acting as, salespeople by proxy at certain times. So beyond that, when it comes to AI technologies, could you tell me a little bit more about how Wunderkind assists these brands with developing hyper-personalized marketing messages, to better engage customers and then cultivate that ever-important brand affinity?
Absolutely. And look, AI has been around forever, right? It's the hot topic right now. I mean, it's in my title. This is the first place I've landed where I've got AI in my actual title. So a lot of hoopla, but let's break it down. AI really is the ability for machines to make better decisions than humans could, and hopefully better and definitely faster, right? Today, in fact, ChatGPT 4 released a whole new version where they can, create audio, video, and all kinds of text very, very quickly, and it's impressive. But at the end of the day, what Wunderkind's doing with AI is we've built it at the actual core of our engine. A lot of AI you're seeing in the MarTech space right now, I'll equate it to slapping a new coat of paint. Everybody's just saying, oh yeah, we can change some copy, no problem. You want to see a different subject line, or you want to see a different, description for your product? That's a very superfluous use of AI, in my opinion. When you have as much data as we have, as I mentioned, 9 billion devices, a billion opted-in consumers, we oversee and observe 2 trillion digital events per year for consumers. When you have that much data and you can plug it into a true AI engine, you can make decisions that aren't necessarily built on journeys or roles, right? And just recently, again, as a 20-year plus marketer, I was excited when we could set up a journey, right? Almost like it wasn't a train track that we put consumers on, but it could go left and right. It could follow them as they made decisions. AI and where we've invested and committed at Wunderkind is you no longer even really need those journeys. You just need the signals and let the machine make a better decision of when does Jen need her follow-up, or when does she need more support? If your product has a product life cycle and something needs to be broken in, well, you're not going to ask them for a review like the day they bought it, like a chainsaw, right? I'm an outdoor guy. You're gonna hit them up 3, 6, 8 weeks later and say, hey, is it working? Did you get it tuned in, et cetera? So that's where we're going in the retail space, to be able to understand the signals that every individual person needs and let AI actually make the journey fit where the consumer is. So we're really excited at what's going on with AI and our application of it, because again, we have one of the largest proprietary identity graphs on the planet. In fact, it's 30% larger than the largest ESP. One just went public, and that was their big talking point, was how much data that we had, and we have 30% more of that.
Wow, that is tremendous. Data is power for sure. So could you talk a little more to that effect about specific examples of the ways you're helping, specific brands do this, this level of hyper personalization within their outreach?
Yep, absolutely. So if you think about what Wunderkind does, we're a giant identity graph, right? We don't sell products. We're a managed service. We can use our data to help inform a brand. And let's make up a brand. Let's call it Acme, right? And let's make up a consumer, Jane Doe. Well, when Jane Doe interacts with Acme, Acme and Jane Doe have a history, and there's data between them. So Acme as the brand gets very excited. Oh, Jane came to our site today, or she opened our app today, or maybe she made a purchase. That's great. But really, Acme only sees the interactions that happen between Acme and Jane Doe on their digital property. Well, enter Wunderkind. Wunderkind, through our identity graph, we know other sites that Jane has gone to. Not all of them, but we're on thousands of websites. And we also power a giant advertising platform technology. So we understand more about Jane than Acme itself would understand about her. So we can make recommendations almost over their shoulder to Acme. So for example, we may know that Jane spends 30% more in her average basket size with other brands. Acme would never know that. And we can't tell Acme, oh, Jane spends 30% more, but we know this. So we're like an advisement. We can come in and say, hey, Jane actually doesn't need a discount. She spends more than average in these other places that she transacts. What Jane really cares about, what we've seen from her rich profile history that we see, she cares about loyalty points or, some other offer that might be, non-transactional. So we bring that intelligence layer, and we're allowing brands who feel like they know their customers, but we know them way more. Another analogy would be if you go to a party at someone's house and you don't know many people there, Well, the host of the party almost knows every person. They're the ones who invited them. So if you wanted to meet somebody on the other side of the room, you might say, hey, I'd love to meet that person. They look like, we hit it off. Well, great. That host knows more and can give you some insights and tell you how to transact with them or how to start the conversation. Oh, that's Tim. He's got 2 kids, he lives in Colorado, et cetera. So that's what Wunderkind's doing. And all of our brands are using that to make these hyper personalized offers, whether it's a content offer, an engagement offer, or just a, hey, glad you're involved with our brand. That's the data intelligence that we bring for that hyper personalization in those own channels.
That is tremendous. And I love the party metaphor as well. Just a few moments ago, we described data as power, but with data and with power, there always comes, an imbalance of power and a question of how are we going to regulate this? And so with the complexity around data collection, maintenance, distribution, GDPR, how does Wunderkind help brands navigate all of these different data and, consumer privacy concerns that are so important, especially as data laws and regulations become more and more on the forefront of, sociological discussion?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I'm going to put my marketing hat on from, let's say, 10 years or longer ago, right? As a brand builder, I wanted as much data as possible in-house. I wanted proprietary data. I wanted to be able to do whatever I wanted with that data, right? And maybe there were some partners, some endpoint technology solutions or a marketing stack I could build, but I wanted to own the data. And today, with the complexity, no federal law here in America around privacy, right? They keep saying one might come, who knows, it can't hold our breath any longer. What marketers should really be focusing on today, and where I flip the script in my own head, is I want to partner with companies that do things really well. If you get yourself in a legal situation, you don't all of a sudden go to Wikipedia and try and become a lawyer. You hire really, really intelligent law firms that are experts in the case law that you need. We have a million examples of that from, again, like you don't build your own shopping cart, you use Shopify, use an existing off-the-shelf technology. Wunderkind has been doing this for 13 years. When I say this, I mean the collection of proprietary customer data, consented, opted-in data that we can use on the behalf of our customers. And it's important to note, as I said before, we can't tell a brand everything we know about a person, but we can advise, we can make recommendations on what might align that brand closer to what that customer needs. And when you allow a partner like Wunderkind to come in and do what we do really well, which is understand the data and make recommendations on what the customer needs from you, then you win. Then you can build your products. You can build your product marketing. You can go to market. That's what you should be doing as a marketer. You should allow us and other platforms to do what they do well. So my suggestion to any brands that are worried about data governance and privacy is find the partners that are very, very good at what they do. They're completely compliant. They have great references, and they've been doing it a long time. Then plug them into your ecosystem, as we do. We natively in some platforms, but seamlessly integrate to all ASPs out there. So lean on a partner that has the data, has the governance policies, and will do it on your behalf. Don't worry about owning everything, because then you become responsible for it. And honestly,
Right.
If you're in the product business, be good at being in the product business. Don't be privacy, experts.
Right. Find somebody who's done the research and trust them. Lean on them. Right. Know you're in good hands.
And when that's all that they do, sometimes, and you look at these giant public companies who acquire all these different endpoints. I'm not gonna name names, but there's some giants out there that are big and they're public, and they just acquire endpoints. And then all of a sudden, they don't become experts at anything. They try and sell you everything under the sun, and they don't do any of it very well.
Right.
Versus, hey, this company does this very well. Like I said, if I need a lawyer, I go find a lawyer that's very good at what they do, because I need to win and need to be protected. Do the same thing with your data. Do the same thing with your MarTech stack.
It's a great point. Tying it back in now, full circle, back to loyalty. What do you think is working for your clients right now when it comes to successful loyalty programs and strategies? And if you could you provide an example or two?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key that's working for all of our clients and has worked for a long time is providing value to your end customer in the moment where they need it, right? So that there's a little bit of guesswork, but the technology and the data persists today so that you can know when and what and where somebody actually needs help from you, right? And this is not the cast and blast like, oh, everyone today is going to get this offer. Well, yeah, that works, especially when you have product launches, right? You have to tell the world, but true loyalty is going to be fostered when you can understand that person as an individual and you can really connect with them when they need you. And it's not always, asked to buy. So triggered messaging, which is really where Wunderkind lives, that's our sweet spot. Triggered messaging means we're going to send somebody a message or an offer or content, whatever they need, based on signals or data that we have that says this person probably needs this today. I always revert to babycenter.com. My children are now teenagers, but I've been blown away at that website where it will put in a date of your child's birthday and it will tell you exactly what you need to know when you need to know it. And that fosters great loyalty when a brand can do that. The other thing is understanding your life cycle of your product, right? As I mentioned, if somebody bought a product and they need 3-4 weeks or more to get familiar with it, don't go ask them for a review the next day. So, those are ways that you can provide value in the moment. Also, don't make offers just based on the past behavior that Remember, we talked about Acme and Jane Doe. Well, that's a very limited data set because Jane leaves your site and she does other things that you don't see. That's where a Wunderkind can come in and look at Jane's entire history, a richer profile. We have more data on her. So things like that can really help, even from the first touch point. If we know Jane, the first time she comes to your website, we can say, hey, again, maybe she doesn't need that 20% off discount to join your mailing list. Maybe she wants to know about your loyalty program. Tell her you're going to give her great loyalty advice and documentation and get her to opt in there. So, when you can see more about Jane, you can stitch together more recommendations. You can provide more value in the moment. And that's where I really think that value and loyalty are hitting the ground together.
Yeah, absolutely. And then building off of that, are there any programs that you personally admire or are loyal to as a customer? And what do you like about their offerings that specifically, draw you in from a consumer perspective?
Yeah, Mark Johnson asked me this question before a couple of years ago when I was in another firm, and I think it still stands today. United Airlines. I'm in Denver, so it's easy. They're a hub for me. I can get anywhere, but their app is unbelievable. I'm also in the Advantage program for American Airlines. I'm also in Frontier because they're Denver-based, a few other things. United's app, where they're winning my loyalty, is their investment in technology. You can change a flight via text. You can change it in the app. You can change your seat literally at the boarding gate. So that's a great use, I think, of technology, empowering a person to do what they want to do without having to call customer service, be on hold, et cetera. I got to give kudos to United, although I will give them one ding, is that my partner and I are both 1K flyers for them, and we both got offers on the same day that were wildly different. One asked me to spend $400 and one asked her to spend $1,300, and they were the exact same value. So United still has to understand, loyalty members are going to talk to each other and they're going to see that we're getting different offers for the exact same product. So
right, and they could have used some of that more robust intent data from Wunderkind, right? So maybe you should call them.
We'd love to talk to them.
Awesome, and thank you for that. Before we get to the more fun part of the interview, do you have any closing advice or thoughts? And then what's next for Wunderkind as we move forward into the back half of 2024?
Yeah, look, two things. One, lean into AI. AI is it's not a job killer. It's a transitional tool. It's amazing what it can be done if you have the right data, right? And AI, everyone knows, and we've been saying this, AI is only as powerful as the data that you can put into it and train it on. So don't be afraid of AI. It's going to create more opportunity than it is going to create this disruption in a negative way. The second thing is what's going on with Wunderkind. We're incredibly excited because we've adopted AI very early on. We've been using it for years as our core engine, is autonomy. And what I mean by that is humans now can use platforms like Wunderkind's autonomous marketing platform to make better, quicker, faster decisions. What used to be humans setting up journeys or journey orchestration or business rules can now be agile with your data, our data. Companies like ours are trying to solve these problems with AI and get to an autonomous state where the orb of the engine just makes the decisions and gets the offers out to the person in the moment that they need them. The right offer, right time, right message, right channel. We've been saying it for years, but AI and the advancements in technology, servers, et cetera, it's now there. So we're excited to see how autonomous marketing will allow humans to do more human things. Creative, product development, really resonate in the marketing collateral whereas AI can stitch together the consumer experience. I'm very excited for the future of that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome and very exciting as well. So thank you for that response and all the great responses. Now we can move on to the fun part of the interview, which is the quick fire questions round. And so we have 10 questions. We ask that you keep these as concise as possible, one word optimally, if not just 2 or 3. And whenever you're ready, we'll jump in. Are you ready to go?
Let's see how fast we can do this.
Okay, let's do it. Number 1, what is your favorite word?
Eat. I love to eat.
Number 2, what is your least favorite word?
Can't. It can always be done.
Number 3, what excites you?
Being outside.
What do you find tiresome?
Oh, typing.
What book would you like to recommend to your colleagues?
Everyone. I've been doing it for years. 4 Ds of execution.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I think airline pilot would be fun.
For United. What do you enjoy doing that you don't get to do very often?
I did it last night, but fishing.
What inspired you to become the person you are today?
What or who?
Either.
Oh man, I didn't think about what, but there's a fellow, Tom Flanagan, who's my mentor. He's an ad executive, Leo Burnett, great guy, my mentor. He's been great. And I guess, I don't know, solving problems is what has inspired me to become who I am today.
Cool. What do you think about typically at the end of your day?
It's always getting outside. You got to get outside.
And then lastly, how would you like to be remembered by your friends and family?
If it wasn't fun, it wasn't worth doing. So I hope I was a fun guy.
Awesome. Well, I can say after this interview, you're a very fun guy, Tim. Thank you so much for the time. It was great hearing your perspective on customer loyalty. We look forward to hearing more from you and Wunderkind throughout the year. I want to thank everybody for listening. We are looking forward to having you back on our next Loyalty Live very, very soon. Have a great rest of your day, evening, wherever you are. We appreciate it. Thank you.